In today's video, we're diving into SUI and answering how much 4,000 SUI could be worth by the year 2026. Whether you're already holding SUI or you're still on the fence about investing in this innovative blockchain, this is a conversation you won't want to miss. With renewed energy in the market and Layer 1 platforms competing harder than ever, SUI's long-term potential is back in the spotlight. As of now, SUI is trading at around $2.90, and that means 4,000 SUI would cost you about $11,600. That's a relatively manageable investment in crypto terms, and more importantly, it opens the door to some pretty interesting upside scenarios if SUI gains momentum over the next year or two. To get a clearer picture of where SUI could be headed, it helps to understand what SUI is actually building. Developed by Miston Labs, SUI is a next-generation Layer 1 blockchain designed to address some of the core challenges in blockchain technology: scalability, speed, and user experience. Unlike many projects that evolve through trial and error, SUI is built on innovative architecture that allows for parallel transaction execution, enabling high throughput and low latency. A big part of what makes SUI unique is its object-oriented data model. The system treats every data element as an individual object, allowing independent processing of transactions. This innovation enhances scalability and flexibility, making it easier to develop and deploy complex applications, including AI agents and gaming platforms. The advanced data handling capabilities of SUI support the efficient operation of high-demand applications, driving further adoption and usage of the network. Since its launch, the SUI ecosystem has continued to expand, with a growing number of decentralized applications, decentralized exchanges, NFT platforms, and DeFi projects being launched. Development activity on the network remains strong, with regular upgrades and improvements steadily rolling out through SUI's roadmap. Looking toward 2026, timing could be everything. The Bitcoin halving that occurred in April 2024 has historically signaled the beginning of a new cycle. And while we're already seeing early market movement in 2025, many believe the real altcoin momentum will build in the following 12 to 18 months. This puts 2026 right in the sweet spot for potential upside. SUI is also on track to roll out several major upgrades that could significantly boost its utility and competitiveness. One of the most anticipated developments is the integration of Bitcoin staking into SUI's DeFi ecosystem. This integration allows SUI to attract liquidity from the $1.9 trillion Bitcoin market, offering lending, borrowing, and trading services through SUI's staking protocol. Improvements to SUI's smart contract framework also continue. With innovations like Zklogan, SUI is setting new benchmarks for Web3 integration. This approach aims to make blockchain use for everyday users simple, lowering the barrier to entry for developers and bringing more applications to the SUI ecosystem. Meanwhile, SUI's focus on real-world adoption remains a key part of its identity. The platform has forged long-term partnerships across various sectors, working on everything from blockchain-based educational credentials to supply chain tracking and decentralized identity systems. These are not hype moves. They're infrastructure deployments with real-world impact. All of this adds up to growing demand for SUI, especially if the network continues to gain adoption among developers, institutions, and governments. Now let's run through a few price scenarios to understand what your 4,000 SUI investment could be worth by 2026. Let's start with a conservative outlook. If SUI simply recovers to the $5 level, which would still be below its all-time high, your 4,000 SUI would be worth $20,000. That's a decent return, especially considering the current entry point around $2.90. It's not life-changing, but it's a realistic target if market conditions improve modestly and SUI continues its steady development. Now let's say SUI makes a stronger recovery and reclaims its previous all-time high of $5.35. That would value your 4,000 SUI at $21,400, which is a solid 1.84x return on your investment. Considering SUI reached that price in early 2025 without the benefit of many of the upgrades and use cases it has today, this isn't an overly aggressive projection. For those with a more bullish view, a target of $7 to $9 is often cited in discussions among long-term SUI believers. If SUI reaches $7, your 4,000 SUI would be worth $28,000. At $9, that figure climbs to $36,000. This kind of scenario assumes SUI establishes itself as a leading platform in DeFi, decentralized identity, gaming, and NFT infrastructure, and that the overall crypto market enters another strong growth phase. Now let's talk about the moonshot scenario. Some in the SUI community believe that if SUI captures a significant share of global blockchain use, particularly in enterprise and government sectors, SUI could one day trade for $10 or even $15. If that happens, your 4,000 SUI would be worth between $40,000 and $60,000. That's more than 5 times your original investment. Is that likely? Hard to say. Is it possible in a full-blown crypto supercycle? Absolutely. But we also have to keep things grounded. There are real risks and challenges facing SUI that could affect these projections. First, there's competition. Ethereum is still the dominant player in smart contracts, and newer chains like Solana, Avalanche, Near, and others are all pushing hard for developer mindshare. SUI needs to stay ahead on scalability, usability, and ecosystem support to maintain relevance. There's also the issue of perception. SUI has often been criticized for its rapid development pace and overpromising in past cycles. Some investors are still skeptical, especially after periods of underperformance or delays in key upgrades. Shifting that narrative will take continued progress and real visible results. The macroeconomic and regulatory environment is another wildcard. While 2025 has brought a degree of stability and optimism to markets, global regulation could change quickly. A sudden crackdown or change in policy in major markets like the US or the EU could have broad effects on crypto valuations. At the same time, positive regulatory clarity could open the doors for institutions and push adoption even faster. Despite these challenges, SUI's long-term vision continues to resonate with a large and dedicated community. The project isn't chasing headlines or rushing features. It's building methodically and laying a foundation for the future. If that approach pays off, and if adoption continues to grow, SUI's current price could look like a major opportunity in hindsight. So what's the bottom line? At today's price of $2.90, 4,000 SUI is a relatively low-cost entry point with the potential for meaningful upside. Even in a modest recovery scenario, you could see significant returns. In a strong bull market, that same investment could be worth $20,000, $28,000, or more. And in a truly explosive breakout, we're talking about portfolio-level gains. Of course, none of this is financial advice. The crypto space is unpredictable, and big returns come with big risks. Always do your own research, consider your risk tolerance, and never invest more than you're willing to lose.